I got onto that. I got this far. No, I got into the individual piece. I got errors.
So if you click on the little arrow for curriculum resources, there's the one for grades 9-12, and then if you click on that, that would you can get there for math. Okay, there and then you click there and you'll get there for math. For us, if you're interested in the directions for setting up a flexible assessment, or you want us to put one in, come over to the tab where it says online assessment. Okay. And then when you click there, this is the document. So here's the piece about Elluminate. So if you click on Elluminate, it'll bring you to Elluminate. And so this one will go step by step on how to create a flexible assessment. This is a little video on how to create a flexible assessment. And then this one will tell you once you've created the assessment, how you can push it out to Google Classroom.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And then if you want us to put your assessment in there for you, you click on this and it'll bring you to a form or there it goes. Click on that. And it'll bring this form. You can pull it up. Can you pull it up? Oh, no, you can't do that.
That's what I was getting.
Go over here and say, open this document in a new window. So when you click it, it should open you in a new window and bring you to the actual Google Doc. And then you should be able to click on this link to bring you to the form. So this is the actual document and it's not embedded in the window anymore. And then it should bring you to the form. So.
Then they would just attach the form to that. I'm trying to read this closer. Where do they actually send the test? You want the test in a PDF form, or you want it in a Word form, or does it matter?
I think it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Because we would put the assessment in there for you.
Okay. There's if you scroll down, Elaine, on the form, I think there's a spot for them to attach it.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, because I'm working at a Google Classroom.
There it is. Okay, I was looking for the.
You got it right there. Perfect. That makes that easy. Okay.
Oh, you mean we have to put in the answer key too? You weren't going to take the test for us and tell us what?
We could, but you might not want the answers.
Yeah. I only missed a couple, I tell them.
Hey, that's great. That's really a nice feature because that will help us with a lot of our assessments that in many cases for math teachers, they've created their own and they'd like to use their own in some fashion.
Yeah.
But as George, as you mentioned earlier, it is going to be a little difficult to ensure security in something like that. So in the settings, and is there a place in that form, Elaine, where it says we can shuffle the answers, you said?
So this would be only if the test that you upload is exactly like that.
Okay.
Okay, because we can't, it's going to be, here's the test, and this is how I'm going to give my test. So if you want one where you want to shuffle the questions, then you're going to have to create a new assessment where you do type in the question.
Okay.
So that the students are seeing the questions as the test, and they're selecting the answers with the questions in front of them so that they can have the questions mixed up. But if you're going to put in a test where it already has a PDF and that's the test that you want your kids to take, that's the PDF they're going to see, right? Because it's going to see number 1, solve 3x plus 5 equals to 20, right? It's going to have A, it's going to have B, it's going to have C, it's going to have D, right? That's static, right? So in front of them, they see the test, they're going to have a static answer. They're not going to be able to shuffle because the test itself is static.
Okay, but if we do it within Elluminate, you type it into Elluminate directly, then you can shuffle them like they do in CUDA.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm curious, are the questions, like the question you just, I'm Chelsea, Sacramento County Office of Ed. I like to hang out with John, so he invites me and I like to hear what teachers are up against because I feel completely useless right now and I want to be helpful. So Mike, I was just curious, Elaine, the question that you just posed as a math question was an equation, and I'm wondering even if you shuffle, how are the questions that you're asking them in these assessments questions that kids can't just write down on a piece of paper, use PhotoMath or Math Papa or Wolfram Alpha? How can we think about the kinds of questions that we ask so that they can't just look it up? They have to do some deep thinking, and how are they going to share with you that they really understand?
All right, so that's a separate question that I think that's definitely like a great thing to address. And then there's definitely some other ways to assess your kids besides giving a static assessment, right? Because there isn't a way, right? You can put in a test, right? The kids are taking it at home. It doesn't mean they don't have another window open where they can find an answer, right?
That's why you put time limits on the test. You got to time limit them so they don't have enough time to look them all up. That's the only way. That's what colleges do.
I don't know if there's a time limit on Illuminate that you can put on the test.
There is I was talking with our math department, and there is some sort of box that you can type in your work or the equation, how they got the answer, and then that's just as much as part of their grade as the answer, whether it's correct or not. You know, that would be part of the point of each problem, is to type in their equation or their solution. Yeah.
It doesn't matter though if they have Google or PhotoMath. PhotoMath is free right now for their premium version because of the stuff. It will show them steps. So they'll copy everything.
We talked about doing a shorter assessment in our department, doing a shorter assessment, and actually having them do, like somebody mentioned yesterday, I think, having them say, like, these are the 5 things that you should have learned in this unit, pick a question and explain to me how to do it. Like, not just a step-by-step thing, but like in words, explain to me how you would do this problem. And then there are things that can prevent copying when they're writing things in words, because you have that thing where you can submit and it will check to see if other papers have the same, I can't remember what it's called. What is that? The English speakers use a lot.
English department uses that.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line is that this is going to look and feel a lot different. And even if you have kids explain answers, it's not like they can't call their friend that's in a class. So we're just going to have some trust that this is not going to be perfect. Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure there's other ways that we can explore as far as having kids, you know, submit answers and explain their thinking. Maybe even do some things and post some pictures of their, you know, posters or whatever that explain their thinking. But it's definitely messy and it's going to feel different. And I think that's going to be a big struggle.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why we're talking about going to pass-fail.
Yeah.
You determine when you can't ensure that a student is not sharing answers with other students in the class because you're not there to monitor that. How do you distinguish an A from a B from a C from a D?
Is that Diane?
Right. So there's other features too within Google Classroom where you can create questions and assignments, right? And quizzes that are like more short answer and explanations, where you can put a point value on there and then grade it like a rubric score where they're explaining their thinking. Yeah. So it doesn't, so you can do that within Google Classroom also. So there's a couple of things too, like within the Google Classroom, if you create a Google form and you're asking more open-ended questions, you can set a point value for that in a rubric, and you can even attach a rubric what that looks like for kids, and then attach a score afterwards for them too, and that will populate into Google Classroom.
Yeah. I say you might want to rethink the grading, because we've been, 70-80% of the grades testing. So maybe we should redistribute it back to when you do your normal assignments on a weekly basis for these last, 6-7 weeks, that we make more of the points towards where when they email in, or maybe they have a written assignment, that they maybe attach more points to that stuff than to the test. I don't know, that's just a thought. Because the tests are going to be a lot more difficult to police than we could when we had them in the classroom.
We also talked about changing, I mean, I don't know at other schools, I mean, Rio, Bella Vista, we're doing about 80% usually on assessments. We talked about actually changing that for this online period, like maybe doing a 60-40 or 50-50 or something like that.
I'm thinking 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50 would make it pretty easy. So
50-50 assessment and then homework?
yeah.
But
Because now
our
they can
guidelines
test
say
it.
that we can only give a grade based on mastery of content. That's what our
But during this time, we're kind of in a different world with online stuff now.
Yeah.
I understand, but our agreement that we have right now says we can only pass somebody based on mastery of content.
Yeah, but this is a very different situation.
Well, I know. You're just assessing them differently.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
learning
think John
curve
is
right
referring
now.
to the MOU that was made out that said, you know what, we have to look at this totally differently in terms of what content have they mastered. Now, can they show that they mastered content via a project or an assignment? Yeah, they actually can.
Right.
We just have to look at it a little bit differently. We should be looking at this as, here's what I'm hoping you learn. How have you demonstrated that you've learned it? Now, whether it's doing something in iExcel where it tracks them, or doing a project, doing an assignment, doing a 3-act task, there's all kinds of ways we can go about doing that. It's just
That's true. Because it could be the test. Yeah.
Yeah.
The testing can be just where we are, just having them hand in or turn in emails with handwritten assignments. At least it makes them write it out. They may still be able to cheat, but at least they got to write it all out that way. I don't know.
And on Google, can't you, like on Google Classroom, can't you like post a video and make sure that they watch the video before they comment and make them comment on and
Oh, that's a
respond to
thought.
discussion questions?
Well, I was going to do that with John's videos. I planned on putting them on Google Classroom and then have the guests. But yeah, but have them comment on the videos would be a good way to see that. At least you know they watch the videos that way. It's not a bad way to go.
We talked about having them either have to, like you just suggested, I like that idea of having to comment on the video. But yesterday we were talking about maybe having them have to kind of turn in some notes for some of the videos or something. Like they've actually watched it and not just watched it while they were doing 12 other things.
Yeah.
But then do handwritten notes to turn in.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you guys done any Ed puzzles? Because they have that feature that you're talking about where you upload a video and then you're able to, as it moves along, there's places where you have kids have to pause and they have to respond written, however you're thinking, and then moves on. And it's a pretty user-friendly format, and there's already a ton already made, so you don't even have to recreate the wheel.
Under Ed Puzzle, you said?
Ed Puzzle.
Hey
Okay, I'll
guys,
check
I got
it
to
out.
split. I got a department chair meeting in about 3 minutes. Okay. Bye. Nice to see everybody.
Good seeing you,
See you later,
John.
John.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ed Puzzle, I believe that is
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Let me try that. Yeah, this is my house.